Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, we'll kick things off talking about Emulation Station, an emulation front end for Windows, Mac, and Linux, and Emulation Station just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, version 2.2.1 is the latest update. Now this is more of a maintenance update, so don't expect anything earth-shattering. However, in addition to a whole bunch of bug fixes here, there is a bit of a different look and feel. And that's thanks to some updates to the modern theme. They say they added new carousel icons and 2 new variants to the modern theme, and added a system carousel fast scrolling to the modern theme. And if you're on Mac OS here, they added support for visual pinball game system. There's also something worth pointing out here for Mac OS users. They say because Mac OS 14 Sonoma introduced a game mode feature, which basically destroys performance from many emulators launched via Emulation Station Desktop Edition, a re-release was made of 2.2.1 specifically for Mac OS. This reclassifies the application as a non-game, which in turn disables game mode and therefore solves the performance problems. Emulation Station is 100% free, it's open source, and version 3.0.0 is currently in development. I can't wait to see what they do next. Moving on, and we're talking about Amiberry, an Amiga emulator for ARM boards, and Amiberry just got a brand new update as well. Version 5.6.2 brings about a whole bunch of bug fixes and some brand new improvements. They added Flatpak package files for x86-64 only. They added a brand new vsync option. And for build systems here, they added RPi 4 Debian builds and RPi 5 in automated builds. And at the time of filming, version 5.6.3 is the latest update. Amiberry is 100% free, it's open source, and I'll drop a link to it in the description below. Next up, we're quickly talking about Exagear, and someone apparently has Super Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter Cross Tekken up and running on Android via Exagear. The results here are surprisingly good. Street Fighter Cross Tekken appears to be running close to full speed. If you are curious about this one, I'll drop a link to this video in the description below and feel free to check it out. Next up, we're talking about the Odin 2 Pro and the Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus, and someone ran an Antutu benchmark and compared the two devices. And the results here are pretty surprising. The Odin 2 Pro is in high performance mode. Both devices are equipped with a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. However, the Odin 2 Pro runs it at 3.2 GHz and the Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus runs it at 3.36 GHz. So no surprise here, the S23 Plus beat it in the test. I'm not going to lie here, I'm kind of surprised that thermal throttling was not a factor in terms of the performance results. Anyways, here the Galaxy S23 starts at $1,000 and the Odin 2 starts at $300, which is a very, very good deal for a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. The Pro that was tested is $369. Moving on, and we're talking about Castlevania Bloodlines, and there's a very interesting ROM hack here from Billy Time Games. He says, starting this week off, this hack was made last week and has been on my list for at least 2 years. Castlevania Bloodlines SRAM is here. So at a high level here, the patch adds a simple saving mechanism to Castlevania Bloodlines for the Sega Genesis. If you are curious about it, I'll drop a link to the ROM hacking page in the description below and feel free to check it out. On a side note here, if you've been noticing that romhacking.net has been behaving a little bit differently, there's a good reason for that. They say recently the site was targeted by a number of scraping services. While not malicious, their combined efforts used up large amounts of site resources and bandwidth. Downloads have been temporarily restricted until the bandwidth usage is back to normal levels. And speaking about romhacking.net, next up we're talking about something on romhacking.net. It's the advanced SNES ROM Utility, and it just got a brand new update. For those who may not be aware, this utility can be used to edit ROM information and remove region locks, and more. So version 1.1 implements a command line interface for batch operations, and they also added a PAL region unlock pattern. Next up, we're talking about Black Friday, and this is a quick heads up that PlayStation has just announced some of their Black Friday deals. If you plan on picking up PlayStation Plus, you might want to do it during Black Friday here between November 17th to the 27th. You can save quite a bit on a PlayStation Plus membership. And PlayStation Gear on top of that, you can save as well, up to 20% off of some stuff. Next up, we're really quickly talking about Huawei. And if you're a fan of these phones, you may not be a fan of this next choice by them. Harmony OS Next is going to be dropping Android app support entirely. You won't be able to sideload apps. If you are curious about this one, I'll drop a link to the article in the description below, and I do recommend checking it out. I've got no idea if Harmony OS Next is set to be installed on older Huawei devices or just new ones. If it's older ones, you may want to hold off on updating. I don't know. Moving on, and we're talking about the Game Awards, and the Game Awards are set to be hosted on December 7th, just around the corner. And the categories and games have finally been announced. If you head on over to thegameawards.com, you can sign in and vote for the games you want to win. In Game of the Year here, I was surprised to see Super Mario Bros. Wonder. It's been a very strong year for games, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder literally just came out. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts about the Game Awards in the comments below. Are you excited about it? Are you not excited about it? Personally here, I'm not as excited as I was last year. And last year I was not as excited as the year before. I don't know if I'm just jaded here or what. Next up, we're talking about Netflix gaming. And Netflix has announced they're bringing Hades to mobile. Specifically iOS, and exclusively iOS. It's not heading to Android, which I'm very disappointed about. It's going to be hitting iOS next year. I guess if you wanted to play Hades on Android, you're going to have to wait for Strato, Cassia, or possibly even Yuzu. However, Netflix did announce they're bringing Katana Zero and Death's Door to mobile, both Android and iOS, so at least we'll see both of these games on Android. And speaking about Android, last up here we're talking about Hello Neighbor. Hello Neighbor is a hugely popular game on Android with over 50 million downloads. And if you weren't aware, Hello Neighbor Nickys Diaries is releasing on December 6th. This is not an ad for the game, it's just some news that I thought I'd include. If you like this stuff, let me know in the comments below. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely anything I talked about today in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.